What is up, dudes, lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, I'm doing a little video talking about rocks. That sounds really lame. Rock the type in Yu-Gi-Oh! All rock monsters together, pretty much. And talking about how it's been what feels like forever since there's been a good rock deck, or really that many good rock cards. I mean, there's a couple, and we're going to go over them here, but pretty much I'm just going through the actual like strong rock cards that exist, and then what possible rock archetypes could exist in the future, or at least which ones could maybe be meta with the right support. So first I want to start off with some of the generic cards that really can help lay down some groundwork to establishing a strong archetype. First one is a new card that I believe we're getting in Chaos Impact. This guy's just a rank 4, and if you make him, he can let you add any rock monster from deck to hand. I don't know if it's a rock monster or any level 4 or lower rock monster, but either way, a really strong search card for any deck. I mean, like, any deck would like to have this. I mean, look at like Broad Bull, like how good that was. So really generic, really strong. This would be a really nice card. Something like Fossil Dyna could be an insanely strong stun card if there was a rock deck that was able to like had built-in cards to help like protect this card. And that's always his biggest weakness, is that any normal summon over 1200 can out him if you don't have any protection, right? But he can just beat some decks straight up. So very, very strong card, but it need a deck that has a way to kind of keep him up, have support him in the battle phase and otherwise. Gigante is a really nice card. Just banish any earth from grave just to summon himself, and then if you destroy a battle, he can wipe the entire board of all spell and trap cards, which is pretty neat. And he's 1900, so he's a beat stick as well. So just a solid card all the way around. We have cards like a Sentry Soldier of Stone. Now I'll come back to him in a little bit, but this is a really nice card where if all monsters you control are rocks, while this card's in your graveyard, you can just special summon him back once per turn, every turn. So like really, really nice. So like literally, as long as you can get him in the grave, bring him back, link him away, or make an Xyz with him, and then as long as he's sent to the graveyard by next turn, revive him again next turn, do it all again. He's 2000 booty, really solid card. I actually really like this card. There's just no archetypes that really make the best use of him. He's a great card though, combined with Gorgonic Guardian. This card takes any 2 level 3 rock monsters, so if any rock deck plays level 3s, this card's really strong. Where during either player's turn, you can target a face-up monster, make its attack 0, and if you do, its effects are negated. So a really nice stun effect. And also, even though it's 16, it does make the monster 0 as well. So even if they summon something and you negate it, they can't just attack over you to like do it. They're going to be 0, which is really nice. And also, once per turn on your turn, you can target a monster with 0 attack and just destroy it. So just get an extra pop as well. Really, 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 really strong card. I really believe this card is like insanely strong. Even now, I played against this card like 2 years ago when I was getting back to the game, and I thought it was insanely good, and I still think it's good. Next up is a card with Power Giant. You send any level 4 lower monster from your hand to graveyard, just summon him out, and then decreases level by the monster you sent. So it's like nothing crazy. I mean, nothing crazy, but he gets him rock on field. He's a 2200 beater. He helps send stuff to the graveyard. Imagine opening this guy and Sentry Soldier of Stone. Boom. That's a nice combo right there. Not only is it a combo, but it's 2 level 3s to make, I don't know, a Gorgonic Guardian maybe. Good card. I really like Power Giant. But so from there, those are really, like, as far as monsters go, the generic like rock support that's like actually good, that's already out. But as far as archetypes go that like exist and already could become something, real quick we'll go back, and something I do think would be really cool is if they actually made like a Soldier of Stone archetype. I mean, we have like a couple cards, but they're like old. They're even for today's standards, they're old, even though they made those to further along like the legacy of Soldier of Stone, right? But I think they could really go a lot of places with it. I mean, this guy looks awesome. There's other really cool ones. I don't know. They might need to get a little more creative with it. But, you know, I think it'd be a cool archetype. The Soldier of Stone archetype would be really cool. Definitely a defensive archetype, but I think it'd be cool. I really like their designs. I really like this guy's design specifically. Continuing on, though, we'll get the Gorgonics. And then I also want to throw Chronomalies in here together, because I think they kind of go the same of just like there's not too much appealing about these archetypes. I mean, one, the cards that are already out for both of them are so far back for where the game is today. So like that's already the bad part. And the second part is that like I don't think many players would find these cards appealing, like aesthetically. That's a huge thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, you would look at the decks that are cool now, like Sky Strikers. Like everybody loves their cute girl archetypes. Salamangrates are these cool, like robotic, fiery, like animals, so that's cool. Like Thunder Dragons, I don't even need to explain why Thunder Dragons are cool. Guard Dragons, like I don't need, everybody loves dragons. I don't need to explain that. Like there's you just hear them and you're immediately like, yeah, they're cool. But then you look at this thing and like I don't see the appeal to people. So I don't think these would really be it. Go-Go-Go's are an interesting one here, but this is definitely another power crept archetype. I mean, all of these are going to be in one way, shape, or form power crept. But this deck, the Go-Go-Go's are like super anime style, where like their effects are a lot of like, oh, like I change my battle position and do something, and it's so like so out of date, and not even out of date where like it could possibly synergize. It seems almost like out of date to the point where like you just struggle to find like what kind of support would actually even make use of it, because they're just like changing their own battle positions and that's it, like setting up 2200 defensive monsters and ending your turn. Like that's what the deck does right now. I do think they're kind of cool, but at the end of the day I just don't think they're quite on the track of where they'd want to be. Another one that kind of go along with Sentry Soldier of Stone is the Sphinxes. There's a couple of these cards, and they're not fleshed out. It's like 3 level 5 or 6 monsters. It's like Hyro Sphinx, Guardian Sphinx. There's one other one, and I guess if you even want to throw like Andro Sphinx, Sphinx Telea, and Theanin, Sphinx Theanin. Those, although I don't think those actually like work with these Sphinxes, but these are specifically the ones that flip themselves face down, and when they're flip summoned they do something kind of strong, and then you can make some kind of control deck that kind of protects them, and then if you get to flip them up you can kind of do some heavy damage. A very, very slow deck right now, very slow. But when you look at something like Subterrors, we thought that flip deck was never going to make up the speed that it needed, and now look at it, it's literally like a tier 1.5 control deck that can top fairly regularly in competitive events. So maybe this could be a deck like that. Maybe they get some lower level monsters to help get the higher level monsters out, and they get some spell and trap cards that help protect their monsters, and maybe it could be a legitimate control strategy. I don't know. I'm assuming that'd be a deck that really stinks going second probably, but there's hand traps, there's side deck cards that kind of make up that stuff, so I don't always worry about that stuff too much. But yeah, I think that could be something cool. I think the Sphinxes are pretty cool, and Sphinxes are just a classic, like great wonders of the world type thing. Another one I want to throw out there, another one of the actual like rock archetypes that already exist is Triamids. This is a super power crept archetype. It has like 3 or 4 field spells in the main deck, but they're not very good, on the precedent that none of them like actually plus you. I think some of them give you like 1-for-1s, but that's about it. And like they give effects like add 500 attack to all your Triamid monsters, and if they battle, like they can't be destroyed or something. Like it's like that level of effects. So super power. I do think Triamid Sphinx though is a pretty good card. If any Triamid face-up Triamid card is destroyed by battle or card effect, just special summon it from the hand. That's actually pretty dank. He's 25/25, and when you control another Triamid card, this card gains 500 attack for each field spell with a different name in your graveyard, and also your opponent's monsters cannot attack except to attack this guy. So he is kind of a pain to deal with, but he only specials from hand as well. He doesn't special from grave, so if they do out him, but he is still a solid card, one of the better cards in the deck. But the biggest problem with the deck is just bricking. Like you run so many copies of field spells that don't plus you. It's not like they're not light stage-esque field spells that are searching you more and more Triamid cards. You just activate one, and then if that's the one you want, you're not going to activate one on top of it, and then you just have 1 or 2 clogging your hand, and it just doesn't do anything. But I love the artwork. The artwork is so cool. This could be a deck where really they made maybe just a new round of field spells that were actually good and plus to you, and maybe a couple more support cards that were good. I think they have a trap that's actually pretty good, and their monsters are mediocre. They do stuff on your opponent's turn, which is fun, but they would definitely need some more support to really be able to do something legitimate. But they're cool at the very least for right now. I'm sure a lot of people will want Gem Knights to be high on this list, but I actually am not that high on them. In a realistic sense, Gem Knights have been competitively relevant in the past year. Unfortunately, they have only been really competitively relevant as an FTK deck, which is lame. It really is. They got an awesome Link monster, so I doubt they would really want to give them too much more support combined with this, especially knowing the explosiveness that the deck can already have. And I just think it's just, they tried. They already gave them support. It was too much. I think Konami would have learned their lesson and are probably going to stay away from Gem Knights. They look cool. They're awesome. They're an older archetype that was really cool back then, but now I just think they're too combo-y, too FTK, not cool. And one of the ones that, if you've been watching this channel for a while now, you definitely know that I love Electromagnet Warriors. Unfortunately, they stink like doo-doo. Which is so frustrating because even now you could argue that like ABCs, if you're a rogue player and you play ABCs, you probably know as well as I do that ABCs can actually contend with pretty much any deck that's in the game. I mean, like, seriously, it's actually a solid deck still. And this deck, as a structure deck, got released at the exact same time as that deck. Unfortunately, Konami decided to just make this deck like just the garbage version of ABCs. And it's really frustrating because I love the designs of these guys more than I actually like ABCs. And they're rocks, and they are all level 3, so they can make Gorgonic Guardian one of the best rock support cards that we've already looked at today. Like, they had like such like possible things to be good with, and they just kind of screwed the pooch. They kind of screwed them. But they do stuff on your opponent's turn. They're constantly revolving their engine and getting their cycle. It's a very linear deck, just like ABCs are. If they gave them a field spell that was somewhere near as good as Union Hanger, and maybe one or two other cards, maybe another main deck monster or something, maybe we could do something. Maybe an extra deck boss monster. Like, they'd need a whole new wave, but I don't know. That could be something that if Konami is trying to put rocks back on the map, that would be a way to go, possibly. And then the last thing that I think is the most interesting one, the one that I think is really cool. I mean, I would love for this to be a thing, but this is the one that I think is actually kind of spicy, and that's blocks. I know it sounds weird, but if you haven't seen the ABC, or not the ABCs, the Burning Abyss builds that play Block Dragon and like the Earth package, it's pretty cool. You pretty much just keep cycling Block Dragon, and if you don't know, there's two other cards called Block Golem and Block Man. Neither of those are really too great, but it just goes to show you that there are a couple of block cards. I think they're a really cool design. I think the design is fun. I think a lot of people would like that they literally look like Lego figurines, and I think a lot of people would really dig that aesthetic. And if it was good, revolving around Block Dragon is an insane card. I think we could really be looking at something interesting. So I think that could be something spicy in the future. This is just my open thoughts about rocks in general. If a rock deck could ever be spicy, I just think there's a lot of room. It's just a type that has never really been evolved upon very much by Konami. And I think if they could, these are the routes I think they could take. Blocks, Magnet Warriors. If they really want to throw out a lot of support, maybe Triamids, but that's such a random archetype for them to buff. Like Sphinxes, if they want to make that a legit archetype. I mean, I wouldn't even be that surprised, though, because you look at stuff like Thunder Dragon. It was literally one card, and they decided to just make it an entire meta archetype. Like, they could just do that with Sphinxes if they really wanted to. Like, just take one Sphinx card, right? Stuff like that, So, I don't know. Kind of same thing with, like, Soldier of Stone. Like, they have a couple of Soldier of Stone cards out that have come out over, like, in the 25 years since, or 20 years since Yu-Gi-Oh's existed, but they're not an archetype. None of them actually work together, so they could just decide to just make that an archetype and just make 10 to 15 Soldier of Stone cards and actually round out a full archetype. Like, they could do that. I don't know. This is all speculation, of course, just talking about a fun topic, if you will. I think that's pretty much all I got here today, though. Guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you think I'm missing something, if you have a cool idea for what could be a possible rock archetype that could be decent competitively, because realistically, I don't think any of these decks are even, like, competitive, like, can't even really compete with, like, tier 1 decks, like, at all. But I would just love for one to be able to. That's fun. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and subscribe if you haven't. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. I love you all. Peace. Thank you. Of course. I love you. Peace. Done. We're done. Hit the button, John.